My family is one. Something like that.
Okay.
And go.
So there have been many families that have had very long associations with CFAs. I think my family is really an exception, where we have had 5 generational connections with CFAs till date. I was probably not even born. I was born many years later when CFAs came into existence. But in 1949, when when it was Indian Fine Arts Society and it came into existence, the very first rehearsal, my understanding was. You there? What is rustling? Oh, okay.
Can you adjust? I mean, just
yeah.
I'll adjust it there for you.
Oh.
And let's go.
Okay. So there have been many families.
Okay,
Okay, sorry. So go. There have been many families that have had long associations with CFAs. I think my family is really an exception, where we have had a 5-generational connection. And I think it was long before I was born, in 1949, when the Indian Fine Arts came into existence. I think the very first, from my understanding from my aunts and my family, the very first rehearsal of CFAs was actually held at my place, where the current SOTA sits. It was 16 Kirk Terrace. There was a row of 16 terrace houses over there, and one of it was our home. And we had our very, very first rehearsal of CFAs. Since then, the family has been connected generationally, where my grandma, I believe, has composed some music for CFAs. My aunt used to sing my eldest aunt used to sing for several arangetrams and programs within CFAs. My mom was a dancer. She had her first arangetram in CFAs. My youngest aunt did violin. She learned violin here. And in our family, we have, like, generationally, that generation, my aunt's generation, we have 2 Kalaratna awardees, and my aunt was also an ex-principal. My dad has served in the committee, so it has been, and of course in my generation after that, it was like my whole cousins. My cousin did her arangetram under CFAs as well, and then myself, and then of course now in my own lineage, my mom, myself, and my daughter, we are 3 generational dancers. So my mom became the first arangetram student of CFAs, and after that I did mine in 1997, and my daughter did it recently in 2020.
Okay.
What happened? Yeah.
No. The other thing is, so CFAs is home,
Yes.
And when a learning institution is so close to your heart, so close to, how do you say, to your reality, then that sort of influences your journey as well. It could be like, it could be the comfort or the comfort with which you learn, or maybe the pride
Yes.
that you take in partaking of whatever happens here. So can you talk about that? How does it influence your own journey? You can start your response by saying, my own journey. Can you start with that?
Sure.
Okay.
So my own personal journey, I started in CFAs in 1988. When I joined, I was actually with another dance school prior, and I came in when I was about 10 years old into CFAs. And since then, I've literally grown up. We were at the Balestier Road campus in 1998, but we moved to this Rangoon Road campus that you see here today. As we know CFAs for the last 30 years. I was a part of the move in 1990, and since then I've literally grown up in this premise, where I've been part of so many productions, academy days. Those days we were like a family. There was only one dance teacher. Today you have like 5 dance teachers in CFAs, but those days there was just one dance teacher. So all the students that was under the teacher, we were all like brothers and sisters, and we all used to literally grew up together. I remember academy day programs where we used to stay here till like 2 a.m. in the morning, and then we all used to go out for midnight prata or tea or whatever after the rehearsals. And that was how I remember it. And during my 8th year exam, my diploma year, and my Arangetram, which I did back to back within 3 weeks of each other, we actually, I was here like in the morning at 7:30, and I only used to go home at midnight. And my dance teacher used to actually cook for me because the teachers stay in premise. So I used to go up and she will cook lunch for me, I'll sleep with her, and we'll come back for practice again. So it was really like a gurukulam that you don't see in today's times, but in those days it was really that, and it was really interesting for me as I was growing up. After that,
management committee now.
yes, so
And
I
you serve
went
as a
away.
serving alumni.
Yes, so I went away for about 10 years, and then when I came back, I started performing in CIFAs again, and the alumni committee was actually formed in 2009 or 8 when I came back, and I became the first vice president of the first alumni committee that was set up by Uncle Kasi, and since then we formed our very own, because we have been in existence for so many years that we finally formed our own alumni group. And since then, I've been involved in many initiatives, part of the festivals, part of programs. What was very personal to me is because I've taught dance when I was as a journey. Okay, so as an artist, it really shaped me up, especially when I took it outside Singapore. I used to perform carrying the CIFA's flag high. I was in the US for 10 years. So while I was working full time, I used to teach dance to about 25 students as well. And I think all of this came about because of that intense training that I had in CIFAs in Singapore. And over the years, from performing, I moved on to, I was teaching in the US, but in Singapore I didn't really teach. But I took on one alumni kid who had finished 5 years in CIFAs, but she wanted a more flexible tutoring. So she came under my guidance for about 5 years, and I actually conducted Arangetram. So this became a first alumni Arangetram that we actually presented in 2017.
Let me shift gear a bit. Names like Sachi, names like Umar Rajan, I.S. Menon.
Yeah.
These are all, I think they must be household names as far as can you talk about that?
Okay, sure. So there were a lot of founding fathers like Sachi uncle, Selvadure uncle, Kasi uncle, who was pretty much always in CIFAs whenever we were growing up, Umanti, and also I would say a lot of members of my family. So my aunt, when I was growing up, my eldest aunt, I used to see her singing for a lot of programs. My youngest aunt, my mom used to actually be part of the National Dance Theatre. So she was also doing a lot of productions that she tried to do.
Where I'm going with this is, I want you to fondly remember these people.
Yes,
Can you
yes.
go with that? Okay.
So in the pioneers, do you want anybody from the family included? My eldest aunt maybe.
Okay, not, yeah.
But Sachi and all the committee members. Yeah, okay.
I mean, yeah, though, people that all of us know.
Okay, okay. So as I was growing up, of course, you have the pioneer members like Sachi uncle, Selvadure uncle, Umar Rajan auntie, Kokila Rajan auntie, Kasi uncle, of course. I mean, he was the one who set up the alumni for us in 28. And then you have Shankar uncle more recently. So there's so many of them who are such pioneers, whom we've all seen growing up and who have really been such a part of CIFAS's growth and what we see in CIFAS today. And I think we are very privileged to have interacted with them in our lifetime. And also I'll say about the management committee now, I think. So as part of the journey now, it gives me a lot of pleasure now to actually give back to CIFAS. I'm part of the management committee today, so I chair community and engagement.
So as a committee member,
yes,
it's different from being an alumni and serving in the committee. Can you talk about that?
So in CIFAS I played 2 roles. I headed the alumni when I came in, and
I don't know the official part. I want you to talk about
yeah,
the ownership.
yeah.
As an alumni, you have something special than someone who is just
No, coming from the streets,
Yeah,
yes. So over the years,
okay, let me rephrase the question. So
Yeah.
it's very easy to respond. How do you feel now, serving in the management committee, as being an alumni, and an associate all your life?
Okay, so having been associated with CFAS pretty much most of my life, I think it was a natural progression to be able to serve in the management committee. I have been asked in the past, but I was not ready to take that on yet because my daughter was still a student. I wanted her to finish her 8th year diploma before I took it on. So the year that she finished a diploma, I told Mr. Rao, I think the new committee was coming in at that point, and when he approached me to be part of the team, I was very excited, and I readily agreed to come on board. And for me, this is very special because this is it's been a natural progression of my dance journey, as you would call it, where now it's given me a chance to give back to my alma mater by being part of the management committee and knowing what CFAS has stood for all these years, and giving that valuable input as to how do we take this forward. We are going to be celebrating our 75 years next year, and I think that to me is very special. So being an alumni, having been here all my life, this would give me, you know, I'm really happy to now be able to be part of that journey and in the committee to see how we can actually help to grow for the next generation.
What is so special about this current committee? I'm not pushing you.
I cannot say that.
Say something nice, you know. Yeah, I'm not forcing you to say anything bad, am I?
No, I won't say anything bad. But I'll say, so I think it's a lot.
How does the committee rally around, come together?
So I think there's a lot of, so when Mr. Rao set this committee up, I think he brought people from different strengths and different walks of life to come together for the growth of CFAS. And I think I'm very privileged because I think I'm the only alumni as part of the committee who has, you know, been a student, a parent, and now I'm a committee member. So I think that way I have I would say I'm like considered the baby of the committee here. But yes, it's really nice to be able to work with so many different people. So it's very, how do I say, they all bring something. They all bring something to the table where everyone's head works together and we try to make it go forward.
Thanks, Ruth.
Yeah.
Silence on set, let's go. So Priya, we more than you, we know you as a lawyer, we know you as a dancer. That's your
Yes.
primary identity.
Yes.
And then of course we know you only as a part of CFAS, such a loyal alumni. So tell us about your years in CFAS, where it started, and how CFAS has evolved as an institution.
Okay, I started with CFAS when I was about 7 years old. At that time, CFAS was at St. George's Road. And my first dance teacher was Shankari Krishnan. And I did my Arangetram with her. And then thereafter, I had gone off to UK to study law. And so when I came back, by that time, CFAS was already in Balestier Road. And I joined CFAS when the dance teacher there was Vijayalakshmi Krishnaswamy. I went through several teachers and they were all, I'm very fond of all of them. After Vijayalakshmi Krishnaswamy, there was Uma Rao, and after her there was Shanta Ponudure. They were my dance teachers. And of course I can't forget, I have to mention the one person who taught me the signs of Thalam, and that was Karekudi Krishnamurthy. He started Thalam classes at CFAS when they were in Balestier Road. And so I took Thalam classes from him and I learned how to do Natvangam. And then I did Natvangam for dancers from India, Singapore, and I still do as well. So CFAS has very, very fond memories for me. It was almost like my second home because I spent so much of time. I also learned violin at CFAS from this teacher. Her name was C.V. Dhanalakshmi when they were at the Balestier Road premises. Sorry, when they were at the St. George's Road premises.
And some memorable performances. I know I related one.
Yes.
Maruti.
Maruti.
No, that's another performance.
You did. Oh, that was my own
That
at
was
Substation.
But the one with Roshni Pandey and you.
That was
Jaydeva's
Ashtabadi. Yeah, that was
Yes.
Jaydeva's Mirror of Love.
Yeah.
We did
Some
Mirror of
memorable
Love.
performances maybe. And you have another, you have another tangent as well, which is the three sisters, and Sifas.
Yes, my sisters, one of my sisters, Pushpa, studied dance with me, and then my older sister, Prema, studied Veena at Sifas, and also she studied vocal as well. Yeah. So when I danced, a lot of times Prema would sing for me. In fact, Prema sang for my Arangetram at Victoria Theatre. Yeah.
Some memorable performances?
There are several memorable performances because well, every performance is almost memorable because you work and you train so hard and you spend a lot of time practicing for this, right, until the dance becomes your muscle memory. So lots of Sifas shows, performances at the old theatres that we had, you know, Drama Centre, World Trade Centre, Victoria Theatre, of course, and Jubilee Hall as well. Yeah, lots of them.
Jubilee was Shambhala.
Jubilee Hall was Raffles Hotel.
Raffles, not Shambhala.
Was it Raffles Hotel? Yeah.
What do you think that Jubilee Hall part again?
I must tell you the dances that I did Natwangam for. The very first person, the Indian, what you call the famous Indian dancers who I did Natwangam for. One was Lakshmi Viswanathan in Singapore, and that was at the Drama Centre, the Cultural Theatre at the old Drama Centre. And thereafter, I went to India to Krishnagana Sabha to do Natwangam for her as well. Then there was Sri Vidya, the late actress Sri Vidya. She danced in Singapore at the Cultural Theatre, which was at the Marco Polo Hotel, that area. And that performance was totally memorable because the singer for that performance was her mother, who's the famous M.L. Vasantakumari. So, you know, that was terribly, terribly memorable for me. Then there was Leela Sampson, for whom I did Natwangam as well in Singapore at, I think that was at the World Trade Center in Singapore, the then World Trade Center. I don't think it's there anymore.
There isn't.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure you still keep in touch with Sifas.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
How do you
okay,
say
I'm
something about how the institution has evolved?
okay. I'm not a student of Sifas anymore. I mean, I go when I volunteer when it's necessary. Yes, Sifas, in my view, Sifas is the best teaching institution for Indian fine arts in Singapore, and they've come a long way in 75 years. A really, really long way. And the other thing that happened when I went back to work in the Sifas committee. We started the art faculty, and that has grown really, really large. So it's very impressive.
The visual arts.
The visual arts, yes. Is that what they call it now?
I think that's what Menaka will know.
Menaka? What do they call it? The arts faculty?
The visual arts.
They call it visual arts. Okay, when we started, it was just art. It was just drawings and paintings, and yeah. So I was in that committee which started the arts faculty.
Now, I have another question for you. You went abroad to study, and then you're a lawyer in practice. Of course, it takes a lot of time, and a lot of people, they find it very challenging balancing, straddling both career and
yeah.
and the art. How do you think?
You know, I think sometimes I think I have a split personality, right? So because I love to dance, and I love my work that I do in the office as well. Sorry?
Oh, your mic dropped.
Oh.
Okay, it's somewhere that you can find it.
Enjoy the work that I do in the office. So
if you can start, because my question will be part of your response.
Okay.
So try to incorporate my question into your answer.
And your question was, how do you say?
Then you can probably start. You know, this balancing career with art can be a challenge, something like that. If you start that way and then go into whatever.
You,
sort of
your question
contextualizes.
was, how did I balance?
Yeah, how did you manage?
You know, when you are very young, you do
Are you
a lot
okay?
of,
Okay, and go.
when you are a child, you do a lot of things. And there's no question about, nobody talks about balancing. You go for ballet classes, you go for piano classes, which is what I did. I went for dance class, violin class, music class. We did all sorts of things, right? So there was absolutely no sweat about these things. It's only when you become an adult that you feel that you've got these various activities, various what you call aspects to your life that you somehow need to balance. So obviously, I think, you know, you have, it's a conscious choice that you make. As much as I feel that your art might just blow your mind out, or it's going to be totally blissful for the soul, absolutely blissful. But that's not something which is going to sustain you for that long. That's what I feel. So on the flip side, I think you have to decide whether at some point in your life you need creature comforts, which your art may not be able to provide you at some point. So you make a conscious decision as to what you want to do, and then you balance it as well as you can.
In practical terms, how did you manage? You probably had a routine.
Yes, I had a routine because I used to go for rehearsals very early in the morning, as early as 6 o'clock, because everyone else was working as well. So I had to get this practice out of the way and then go to work, which is what I did. So, and then weekends, yes, Saturdays and Sundays we practiced. That was, you know, like any time we could do that. But I think you need to have a certain discipline to be able to balance whatever you want to do, no matter how many activities you have. I think you need to have a disciplined lifestyle.
Okay. I have what I wanted, but I'm going to push a little bit. Okay?
Okay. I didn't want to say that if you are in the arts, you need a patron, a rich patron.
You want to say that?
No. That's the other option, right? If you don't work, if you don't have a working career, and all you want to do is be in the arts, you're going to have to look for a very rich patron.
Asking the kids to marry a rich man, I guess. Okay. Now,
Marry or don't marry is a
Don't
different
marry.
thing. It's just a patron who's rich. That's all. You have to edit all those things out.
No, it's all okay. Anyway. So the other thing is, you know, do you feel a part of a fraternity as far as Sifas is concerned, or a family? You know, there's something that's immediate about your association with. You see, it's not as if, okay, I attended French class and then I left.
Yeah,
You see, there's a certain affiliation that
sure.
that never quite dissipates.
It does, yes.
Talk about that.
Well, I think the relationship with Sifas it's not just what you learned. I think it's got to do with the people who were there. It's got to do with the teachers I had. And that's what keeps you wanting to go back, to see them, be in touch with them, do things with them, work with them. And I think that's very, it's always the people who lure you, right, to whatever institution there is. And that's the takeaway from there.
And you still feel...
Yeah, the teachers are still, all the teachers from Sifas are still very dear to me. Some of them are no more, but yes, I'm still very fond of all of them because I hold them very dear, and they are excellent. They were excellent teachers, totally devoted and totally knowledgeable and very giving. They were very generous as well. They shared a lot with at least me. They shared a lot, and they were happy to teach me what I wanted to learn. It wasn't as if they had to follow the syllabus all the time, which they did. So it was like on the side, you know, they would say, if I said I wanted to learn something, and they would. They were kind enough to do that, and I'm very grateful for that.
You know, having worked with people people like Leela Sampson and all
Mm.
that. I mean, I'm sure you're very familiar with the, how do you say, the friendship that this institution has with reputed institutions like Alakshekra.
Yes, the teachers.
Would you internationally,
Mm-hmm.
where would you place CIFAS as a teaching institute?
I can't say that. It's not on record.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not Kalakshetra standard, not yet. Kalakshetra is Kalakshetra is how many years old, right? And the teacher, yeah, it's we have the teachers. We've got the Kalakshetra teachers.
But it is a respected institution.
Of course, in Singapore, totally respected. Yes.
I see you've become a bit quieter.
Yes, yes, because I don't want to say.
Okay? Yeah, let it go. Okay. Manjula, so you're in charge of the curriculum
That's right.
as well. So talk to us about the curriculum, not in each aspect, that will be too long, because you really have to contain a lot of things in a short time.
Right.
But without your phone, maybe?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, done. So, talk to us about the way the curriculum is structured, so as to aid the students' progress in this chosen field of arts.
Yeah. So, curriculum is something very important for any education that is institutionalized. When you institutionalize, like music was dance, music, any art, Indian art was taught through oral tradition initially. So once it came into the institution space and it was institutionalized, it became imperative to create a strong curriculum that could help the students learn the art form in its, without going again, deviating from the tradition, but at the same time, because when you have it as an institution, we'll have different kinds of students from different backgrounds, and their aptitude levels will be different.
Yeah, we can understand the starting line could be different from each student also, right?
Yeah.
So when it comes to CIFAS, tell me about the CIFAS curriculum.
CIFAS curriculum, keeping in mind the diverse culture that the students here are exposed to, we try to keep the tradition alive in the Indian art, how it is pure, in its purest form. At the same time, help them, communicate them, and the medium of instruction will be in such a way that they can relate to the current education system. So, like in the sense, like when you talk about the deep history of Indian music or a dance, which goes back to Vedic times. So, if you make it very spiritual and it becomes very mystical, and students cannot, after some point they will find it very intimidating and they will just move away. So, rather than doing that, we try to teach them how music is universal, whether it is Chinese music or Indian music or any within Hindustani or Carnatic or any music, how the basic elements are the same and how it grows. The basic concepts remain the same. You just they are termed it differently. That's all.
It's an 8-year curriculum.
8-year curriculum.
Can
Yeah.
you talk about that?
So we have the curriculum is divided into 3 stages: the foundation, development, and proficiency. So foundation, it consists of 3 levels: level 1, level 2, level 3, where we basically focus on skill, building the skill, strengthening the basic skills.
What is that awful sounding? Sorry, you can hear the sound. Very nice. Can we take that again? Cut, please. Start from where we. Okay, roll, please. All right. Talk to me about the CIFAS curriculum.
CIFAS curriculum is very comprehensive, and it's.
You want to let your hand loose, you want to use your hands to express.
Yeah.
Okay. Put your weight. Use panna.
Use panna, okay.
So let's start again. Okay. I'm of the understanding that the CIFAS curriculum is an 8-year curriculum. Please clarify.
So first let me clear on the term year. So this is not.
My question is not part of your response. So what you do is, people tend to think, can you start something and go.
Okay. So people have this understanding that it is an 8-year diploma, wherein every year you write your exam. At the end of 8 years,
Can you contextualize it for me? Use the word CIFAS.
Okay.
Yeah. And can someone then look this? So if I were to walk into the campus and then ask you, please tell me about your curriculum. I'm interested in enrolling. What will you tell us?
So here at CIFAS, we have 8-level diploma. You go through 8 levels to actually get the diploma certificate at the end of your course. And this level does not mean 8 years, but it depends on the aptitude of the student. Each student comes with a different aptitude level. So we only allow them to take the exam when they are ready. So it's directly proportional to the efforts they put in, the practice hours the student puts in, because they come only once a week. So they spend 4 hours a month at CIFAS. So the rest of the time it depends on how much they practice, how much of effort they put in. So basically initially what we have seen is students are able to, the foundation they are able to do it every year, they are able to take it, because we have framed the curriculum in such a way that foundation does not involve too much of content for memorization, but it is more focused on skill development, like strengthening the fundamentals. It could be your in a dance it could be your postures, your hand movements, leg movements, etc. And in music it is your shruti and laya, rhythm sense of pitch, all these things. So we focus on strengthening these. So the content per se is very little, and in fact we almost repeat the same content in a different way. We package it differently across the 3 levels in foundation. So foundation more or less they can finish every year. So 3 years they are done with foundation. Then we move to development. Development is when we start adding more finer elements. We introduce them to different kinds of compositions, different kinds of items in dance. So these fundamental skills are through these they make the building blocks for the compositions that they learn in development stage. So development stage we focus on retaining their interest, kindling their curiosity in that art form they are learning. So that probably 3 years, it could go up to 4 sometimes based on the student's ability. Then comes proficiency. Proficiency is actually where the passion of the student is kind of, you can actually identify the students by their passion. They stay on, and here there is more of improvisation music, creativity involved. So it is not just classroom learning that is enough for them. So in the current curriculum what we do, we have introduced a lot of cross discipline learning, then classroom performances, then audiovisual activities within the classroom, and these are apart from the syllabus what they learn in the curriculum. So these things will help them compete with the standards outside Singapore in the Indian art form. I mean, compared to the students in India, definitely our students here have lot of limitations. They don't have that kind of an exposure. They don't have those many opportunities, and also the overall standard is also not as high as in India, right? So in the proficiency level, we try to give them as much attention to those nuances as possible, so that they can compete. They are at par, more or less at par with the standards of students in India.
How many students receive diplomas on the average from CIFAS?
On an average, there are at least foundation level we have a lot of
but how
students.
Talking about the diploma level.
Diploma level we have about close to 80-90 students, if I am not wrong.
Can you complete it, meaning every year? Can you start your sentence by every year we have about 90 students graduating with the diploma?
Yeah. So every year we have about 80 to 90 students graduating from graduating with a diploma across the all disciplines.
Now, thank you. One more. So, is attrition a problem? People drop out due to career, due to studies. Is that attrition? Is it a problem?
I wouldn't say it is a problem. It is a natural process which happens anywhere.
So, my question is not part of your response. Just say that. Just say that.
Yeah,
biggest
all right,
challenge
got it.
you
Yeah,
face.
yeah, right.
What is your biggest challenge?
So the biggest challenge is to retain the students. So the attrition happens for various reasons, and many a times it is genuine, and it is very for fair reasons they withdraw. But now we have come up with a new process wherein once they apply for submit their forms for withdrawal, it comes up to me as an academic coordinator. I try to intervene and hear them out and try to listen to their concerns if they have, and I counsel them and I give them different kinds of alternatives to retain. Sometimes it helps because they would not have thought that way, and then it's like many times what I have seen is the parents they want the children to continue, but they also they're seeing that the children are not able to cope up with the time and the pressures from the academic side. So that is when I say, music is a buffer. So or dance or any art that they learn, it is a buffer for them. So it is all the more important at that stage when they are so there's so much of intense pressure on the academic side. So this gives them as a relief. So once a week they come out, they are in a different atmosphere, they meet different set of friends, they are talking something different from their academics. So definitely it will, when they go back, they are more fresh and ready to, So I say, you don't bother about how much they learn during that period. It is only to keep them afloat. Withdrawal, with what happens, they go 10 steps down, and then when they come back there again, they have to restart. So it is not a good thing for them, and at the same time, even for the teachers also, it becomes difficult to bring back the student to that. With so much of effort, the teachers would have, brought the students to a certain level. Then it's again an entire redo of the process, which both of them will be at receiving end of that process.
Thank you. Okay, I've got what I wanted. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.